The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Now I know why I like Oklahoma fans and college football fans in general so much, is because they have a way, if you really rile them up or piss them off, they have a way of triggering you and rattling your cage like a bunch of wild monkeys and basically making you lose your bowels for 21 minutes, like Mr. Marky Boy, a voice of college football's 2,500 channels and the Nagasaki egg rolls did the other day. And I don't normally go after other podcasts. It's probably like the third time I've actually called one out specifically, but it was requested by the common Joe and common Sally. And no, that being George Contupis, aka Killer Breeze. And also I was given a nugget or two from Heath Stokes as well. They get credit for this little grilling session. Seems like old Marky Boy lost his bowels. And I'm also probably going to talk about Cal and Stanford and how ESPN's trying to push their elitist ass on the Big 12. Let's talk about it. Old Mark Rogers had a channel, E-I-E-I-O. And on that channel he lost his bowels, E-I-E-I-O. Poor old Mark, man. I watched this channel, man. The veins are coursing through his forehead, man. I think he's about to have a coronary breakdown or something, nervous breakdown. Might even feel that adult diaper full, man. Someone might need to check on old boy. I don't know, maybe USCJ or I don't know, Colin Coward, maybe they can change his diaper, put a little baby powder on it. That way the boy don't rash up. But before we get to all that, I'd like to go ahead and give a few shout outs and some recognition. Forgot to give David Kreitzer his donor recognition last week. David Kreitzer with a big $100 donation a few shows back on the live stream. I apologize for that, David, immensely. Also donating to the show, GW8783 with a $25 donation, Killback First with a couple of dollars, as well as VDRL. Appreciate the hell out of that, guys. Also, we have a new member of the Outlaw Posse. Once again, it's growing by leaps and bounds as Call of the Apache, great name, is now mounted up and saddled up. He's got his badge, he's deputized, and he's ready to go. And speaking of that, the 4 Horsemen shout-outs of the week go to Alice Stokes, Storm4601, That Christian Fam Channel, and Daryl Madden are saddled up and ready to go. Help me with this college football invasion, or this grilling session, whatever you want to call it. Now, old Mark Rogers, man. I've always known Mark was a little timid and a little, you know, I don't know if you call it weak sauce or just tender. But he was talking about, I had to take notes on some of this stuff because I couldn't believe some of the stuff he was saying. I mean, he basically had a meltdown for everybody to see. He'll more than likely delete that video. And if he don't, I'll link it in this so y'all can see the full meltdown that you guys caused. Not me this time. This was a request. As I said before, I don't normally do this. It's probably only the second or third time that I specifically targeted a podcaster. But from what he was saying, I really felt like I had to say something about it. He went on a rant because someone, or actually a lot of someones, a bunch of Oklahoma fans got in there and grilled the shit out of him because his channel reported that David Stone had indeed already committed to Oklahoma on Friday, which was not true. Now, as of date, I'm not sure who David Stone has committed to. Y'all can drop that in the comment section if that's already happened. But he got on there and he basically does what I really hate about some people that consider themselves media experts when they're really not, and was throwing out his resume and trying to talk down to people in such a way. And even interjecting a little religious terminology like grace. He probably said that word about 15 times, trying to, shame people for criticizing him. But Mark, it's like this, brother. You bragging about how you got 30 years in the business, how you work for ESPN and all that stuff and yada, yada, yada. But you're not working for ESPN anymore. And there must be a good... There's probably a reason for that. And it probably ain't totally what you've been saying. As a matter of fact, I know it's probably not, because I know a few people myself. My mother was, she was an accountant for the sports information department out here at the University of Alabama. You talk down, specifically, I think you were talking down to the Oklahoma fans, and you talk down to college football fans in general, all these media whores out here that go back and forth interviewing each other. They whine and pine about the fact that they're not working for ESPN or Fox anymore because they think they're more elitist, when in fact y'all are doing the same thing. Y'all are at the mid-level range, I guess you could say, a mid-level, mid-Carter sports expert. And you don't realize, you talk about, well, if you want to unsubscribe to my channel because I made a mistake, blah, 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 then so be it. Well, they're not going to unsubscribe to your channel because you made a mistake, Mark. They're going to unsubscribe to your channel because you got on here and lost your bowels over it. Because you got on here and you basically admonished the people that made you. These are your fans, man. I take criticism all the time. I debate back and forth with my fans all the time. Do I get a little ugly sometimes and get pissed off and get triggered like you did? Yeah, I do. But I don't make a 21-minute video about it. And that's what you did, man. You basically had a meltdown. If I was you, I'd probably delete that video. And if you don't, the people that are subscribed to your channel that, like they're having their First Amendment rights or their freedom of speech, I would unsubscribe, just like you told them to. Because, and then you went on a little tirade about people. Our channel is pristine and we're based on facts and we got an impeccable reputation. Well, the old saying goes, Mark, if you have an impeccable reputation, you don't need to tell people. People already know. But you talk about clickbait and trolling and how your show don't do that and how we don't smack talk. Yes, you do. We all smack talk to some degree. If you criticize someone, that's a form of smack talk, Mark. And there's nothing wrong with intertwining a little comedy with your show. Don't talk down on just the fans and then talk down on fellow podcasters like myself that like to intertwine a little comedy with facts. You can still be factual and professional and still have a sense of humor. And that's the problem you've been running into, brother. Your skin needs to get a little bit thicker if you're going to continue on and make it to that 31st year of being in the business, as you call it. Let's rewind back to the whole clickbait thing with people throwing that out there. That might be the only thing I agree with Mark about. People need to quit calling stuff clickbait because everything's clickbait. Think about it. Every single channel on YouTube needs you to click on it to watch it so they can get paid by YouTube and Google AdSense. Everybody's clickbait. So y'all quit going back and forth calling each other clickbaiters because it just makes you look like a big old pile of hypocrites, in my opinion. And it's just a weak sauce comeback, in my opinion. Now, the last thing I'm going to say about this, Mark, is you go around saying you got all these experts from each and every team, the voice of 132 teams or whatever. But these guys are just basically minions that want their little 15 minutes of fame. Can't blame them. Everybody wants a little fame every once in a while. But the thing is, you use that against them in order to further yourself and the fact that probably more than likely you're not able to pay all these guys for their time. Which to me sort of makes you a little bit shady, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. And the fact that when you get cornered, you start talking about grace and how elite and pristine you are, hiding behind your religion. And I really, really don't respect that. Now, at the end of this show, I want to give a little bit of college football tidbit that I saw the other day on the Monty Shows talking about California and Stanford and how ESPN has approached Brett Yormark and trying to talk him into inviting Cal and Stanford into the Big 12. And the Monty Show, usually I like that show, but sometimes they say some stuff that I disagree with. And I disagree with the fact that they said that Cal and Stanford was a big brand that the Big 12 needed. They're not. They're not. If they were such a big brand, then they would have got invited a long time ago. They didn't. I would not invite Cal and Stanford into my league if I was the Big 12. They show went on to say, well, ESPN, of course they want them in there because they're a big brand. Once again, they're not a big brand, Monty. The reason why ESPN wants them in there is because that Silicon Valley thing, because they are a bunch of woke spastics, like a bunch of people at ESPN. And yes, I know my conference is carried by ESPN, and I wish they weren't. I wish that the SEC somehow, some way, could get away from ESPN. But ESPN's not trying to add them because they're big brands. They're trying to add them because they're all about that woke ideology. And that's all I got to say about that today. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also, there's a little, let me throw my notes over here. There's a little heart down here. It's got a little $sign in the middle. If you don't mind, you can hit that, make a one-time donation to the program. Also, as I said earlier before, if you want to get your badge and get deputized and be a part of the Outlaw Posse, like Call of Apache did today, all it is $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little subscribe button right there, as well as the join button. Hit that join button, and you'll be deputized. You'll mount up and saddle up and help us with each and every college football invasion every week. Also, I got a cash out. It's $JPC316. I'll try to put that in the description this time. I forgot to last time. And, as always, KMCA. To all the other teams, class is now officially dismissed.